So when my principal first approached me with a favor to lead a group of students, a group of 8th grade students, in some smoothie making, my first thought was, 8th graders scary. Second thought was, how? And third thought was like, no, she's crazy, no. But here we are, 5 months later, and it has become the highlight of my weeks. And if you're asking, what? How? I'll tell you. So way back in the fall, and then really last year during my first year of service, my principal and I and many other staff have noticed that there was one student in particular in 8th grade, and really all of her friends, that were kind of not eating. They were never participating in school lunch, school breakfast, and they would go days without eating at school. And after pleading, persistent posters, very excited encouragement from myself, nothing was really working, and we were ready to get creative. So when Gabby, this student, told us that she loved smoothies and that she would love to have smoothies at school, we were like, okay, we're in. And my principal, with a little negotiation with myself, we decided to dub it with the fancy alliteration Wellness Wednesday, and we were off, as we do. So one fall day it began, and we made smoothies with like 4 students, just a couple of stragglers that heard about it. And then the next week was 6, and then there were some lunch monitors, and then it's 8 and 10, and students were enjoying it. So we kept on, and we are still doing it. But one especially gloomy fall day in mid-November, the kind of like gloom that we've been experiencing this weekend in Massachusetts, or this week in Massachusetts, that very like gray, heavy sky that when you wake up, it feels like the sun is already set, and it doesn't come out all day, and then it's set again. And I received an equally heavy and gloomy email from our previous program coordinator, Annalise, and it was saying that she was leaving by the end of November for another role in FoodCorps in New York. And as minor of a change as this was, and as exciting news this was, I couldn't get past this like great feeling of loss. And to be perfectly honest, I have always struggled with slight depression. It's gone undiagnosed, anxiety, and this somehow felt different. It felt heavier, more devastation, and like it couldn't pick up and keep going after these small changes were happening. It was like there's all these little things that kept happening in service and in my personal life. I have a long-distance relationship. I'd lost a lot of staff from budget cuts the previous year, losing Annalise as a support, and then deciding, in that crazy midst of deciding what was next for myself after FoodCorps, it was just really confusing. It had rolled up into this big snowball, and it just felt like it had rolled me over. And it became really a struggle. Like, I just wasn't at my best, and I felt like I wasn't showing up in service for my students, which really feels the worst, right? And so it was a struggle to get up, it was a struggle to smile, it was a struggle to get things done. And it just felt like I wasn't showing up for my students. So the only thing I knew how to do was just keep going. Felt like I gave up, but I'm just gonna go through the motions and keep going. So I did. And on that Wednesday that I received the email, I knew that I'd made a commitment, so I went and I showed up for those few students that came that day, and we made a smoothie, and it was a small group, so we had a lot of extra time, and we got to talking, and we talked about our moms, and we talked about our favorite foods, and cultural foods, and their dreams and hopes and politics. And it was just this really awesome moment of honest connection, and I just saw this 180 mood flip in me that day. And I think still to this day these students don't necessarily know the impact that they truly had on me and that they continue to have on me, and how deep that connection was. But I'm so grateful for that moment, and I continue to be grateful for them. My mom actually sent me a podcast later after this, and it was about something called mirror neurons, if anyone's heard of them. I got one. So there are these small things, which I guess she already knows. small receptors in our brains as humans. Everyone has them, and they're necessary to human connection, just between one another, all of us as a group. Essentially, they're activated when we as humans see an emotion in ourselves reciprocated in someone else visibly. So if I'm having conversation, if I'm looking at a happy baby and they're laughing, you would never respond with just that monotone, good, baby, good. Like, so you respond with like a happy laugh, a coo, a clap, oh, high-pitched voice. And that baby registers that as safety and connection because of these mirror neurons. They see themselves in this human, and it feels secure and protected. And as parents, mothers, children, all guardians and children this is an essential life force. And I argue as educators as well. And I think I noticed this happening that day in that group, and it's continued to happen where, in these moments of honest connection, my excitement or even my kind of candor was reciprocated by those students, and it calmed us both down. We released those happy hormones in our brains, and we felt secure and connected. And many, many weeks later, after Constant Wellness Wednesdays, I still enjoy those 35 minutes a week so much, and those 35 minutes of deep, deep connection over a fresh smoothie where we can talk about anything we want in an open and agendaless space are really so important for building that trust and building those relationships that we say are so important here at FoodCorps. And so I think even though I will continue to struggle with my own mental health and personal obstacles, I come to school every Wednesday knowing that this is going to be a good day, and I'm just excited to see them and excited to hang out with my brave tasters. Or I don't even want to call them that because 8th graders think it's not cool. But and actually, I told them that I was going to be gone today and not do smoothies today, unfortunately, because I was here and that I was writing about them and talking about them. So I'm pretty sure they're equally as embarrassed for me as they are for themselves. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when I come back. But I think what I wanted to leave everyone with is that I just hope that during this extremely demanding, challenging commitment that we've all made for ourselves and are proud that we made for ourselves, that each one of you are experiencing these little bright moments and really cherishing these deep moments of honest connection with our students and their little universes that we get to have the privilege to teach.